Hello, everyone, and welcome to Four Lads Rangers Friday Night Podcast Live. We are here to talk all things Rangers strips, rumours, and apparently patience, which we all need. So this is going to be a fun discussion. I'm joined by my lovely co-hosts Kenny and Sheryl. Good evening, folks. How are we?
I'm good, thank you. Yep.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you, Stevie. I've just kicked off 7 weeks holidays. So I am wonderful. What's that, Kenny? More holidays for the teachers? Absolutely. Absolutely, my friend.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that you're in a good mood, folks. You know why we're late? We are late because my car broke down tonight. It came up an emergency low oil message and I basically got stuck, and then I had to drive home and there was no car pressure. There was no brake pressure. So I was crawling home from Rook and Glen at 50 miles an hour. So it wasn't fun. So I apologise because we wanted to go at 7. So, yeah, I'm waiting for the RAC and the luck just keeps coming. But we're here. We're going to discuss Rangers. Good evening, everybody. Really glad you're joining us. Good evening to all our members on YouTube as well. Hey, let's get straight into it. The third strip came out this morning at 8 a.m. It looks like this. Picture courtesy of the club and of Umbro. First impressions, I quite like it. And I know everybody's going to shout at me. I like the different shades in the colour. I like the neck. And I genuinely quite like it. I know it's quite similar to one we had a few years ago, but I'm a fan. I know it's going to probably divide opinion, I'm sure. But Kenny, what do you think, mate?
It looks like a Dundee top, doesn't it? If you're being honest. It does look a bit like a Dundee top. I'm not sure. That's me being positive. Listen, to be honest, it's different. That's what I would say. It's different. But I always think, you know, with these things, pictures maybe don't do it justice. I'll need to actually get down and have a look at it, because more often than not, when you do, I actually said this about the second kit, if you remember, I didn't like it at all. And having seen it, it's a cracker. So shows you what I know. And as I say, I'm old and my eyes are done, so I can't really tell exactly how good it is, but I'm not sure, mate. That's what we'll see.
And Sheryl, what's your thoughts?
I'm not a huge fan of it. I much preferred the pictures that were going around on X, etc., of the red strip that was kind of rumoured to be the third strip. I thought that was an absolute belter. So I think in comparison, I'm not a huge fan of this one. That said, will I be down the store with a 9-year-old that's absolutely desperate to buy it tomorrow? Yes, I will. But it usually would have been today. So we've been a wee bit more muted with it, but we still will be there to get it tomorrow. But as I say, I don't know. There's rumours that the red one might come out as a fourth kit. I thought that was absolutely lovely. This one, not so much.
The fourth kit is indeed not red. I can confirm that. I have seen it. Okay. So it isn't red. So no, I don't think that's right. I think that's maybe just a mock-up. I'm not sure entirely where that strips come from. But I do, as I said, I do quite like it. So I'm quite happy with it. So that was this morning. You can get that obviously from the Ranger store. It released at 8 a.m. this morning. I don't have mine yet. I normally get sent one. I normally get one delivered and I've not got it yet. So I'm hopeful I'll get it. Because I always think that these things are better in person once you actually see them and see what's going on. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to have to mess about with this layout a wee bit because I brought up the strips. It's kind of went a wee bit funny. So now, we're not going to have that. Not going to have that either. There we go. Right, sorry. This is what happens when Andrew isn't here. So you got too many close-ups there we don't like. What else happened today? Ticket prices for the Champions League qualifier against Panathinaikos came out. It was £30 for the where I sit, which I thought was very reasonable. You're not really going to get lower than that. For the first game under Russell Martin for a Champions League qualifier. So I was quite happy. I think it's a decent price. We still have the 3-season tickets, so they obviously all mount up. But Sheryl, what did you expect price-wise? Did £30 seems almost reasonable to me somewhat.
I think that's all right, Stevie. I don't think that's too bad. I think one of the things that Rangers do pretty well are the concession tickets. They're usually pretty decently priced. So like yourself, I take my son along with me. Obviously mine's is that bit more expensive, but the kids' ones are pretty decently priced. So it's not too bad at the moment. Obviously we'll go into the packages, fingers crossed, further on, and it does get more expensive, but I think for the stage they're at just now, £30 not bad at all.
Yeah, I've got to agree, Kenny. I was pleasantly surprised because you know that these prices can go up into the 40s and stuff like that. 30 to me is quite reasonable, so I'm really hopeful of a good attendance and a good showing for Russell Martin's first competitive game in charge.
Yeah, well, if you go anywhere in the Premier League now, it's 37, 38 quid, isn't it? So to get it for 30 quid is really good. Yeah, again, I would have thought 35 to 38 is probably what I expected to pay. So yeah, that's great actually, and quite surprising that they've went on the lower side. I can't remember. I was trying to remember what we paid for the Kiev game last year. Was it not about 34 or something like that, if I remember right? Can't remember, but it was. I thought it was more expensive last year than it is this year, so that's good. And I think they're perhaps taking a little bit of notice of some of the European games last year, which I thought were quite highly priced. In the Kiev game, which was there was only about 40,000 there, and you know that, so they've maybe just looked at it and thought, bring it down a bit, get the place full, and that's particularly at that time of year, Stevie, when it's holiday time and a lot of folk will be on holiday, so they're going to try and get the place sold out. So good pricing.
Yeah, I'm really hopeful. Look, I think by the time the Panathinaikos game comes around, it's the 22nd of July. I think we're all hoping that we have a rocking Ibrox, a really full stadium, really good atmosphere, but with lots of new players to watch, which will come to more rumours and more discussions when we get to that. What I wanted to say is, as well, the Rangers players are obviously back this week in training. I think the coverage has been quite good. I quite enjoyed the 10-minute kind of video from Rangers, Sheryl, and it showed Tav at centre half. There was quite a lot of moving the ball quickly. The ball pace doesn't stop. We always move it quickly, but under control. And these are obviously wee things. We will never see more that when they film training like this, you normally get to see the first 10, 15 minutes or something like that. And you don't really see the nitty gritty, which is fair enough, obviously. But Bailey Rice was getting a lot of praise in those training videos. Tav at centre back, obviously. So there was a wee bit to watch. I've got to be honest, not being so tactically minded, I was intrigued by what they were kind of doing, because it was almost like they were splitting the three teams in three different bib colours, and you had to do those transitions and things like that. So it was interesting for me. And to be honest, Sheryl, any type of content at the moment, I'm starting to get the point where I'm missing it all a wee bit, and I'm already looking forward to the friendly next weekend just to get myself a wee bit of action.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't normally go to the friendlies. We usually bypass them. But we've signed up for both of them this season because, like you, I'm absolutely desperate to get back, to have a look at what's there, to have a look at Russell Martin's style of play. So it's hugely exciting. As well as the 7 weeks holiday, the other thing that has brought me joy this week is the footage of these players looking absolutely burst. It's been absolute pure Danilo. Like somebody, I don't know if we're going to club together and get a defibrillator for pure Danilo, because every time you see a picture of him, it just looks like he's almost on his last legs. It's absolutely brilliant. Something that you'd shared with us, and I haven't had a look at the training video yet, Stevie, but the praise around Bailey Rice, the things that you had picked up on, the praise around him, and I found that really interesting because I think it was Clement that said it first, and then Barry Ferguson echoed it when he wasn't picking Bailey Rice as a starter. The phrase they used around with him, I think, was behind in his development. That was something that they both used around Bailey Rice. So to see him kind of kick on, I think we need perhaps to get a number 6 in who'd be able to hit the ground running. But the fact that he's been singled out and been given a lot of praise in these videos, I think is excellent, and it's something for us to look forward to as well.
Yeah, I must admit, Kenny, it was you that highlighted actually in our chat the stuff about Bailey Rice, but his name was vocally being called out quite a bit by Andy Gill, the assistant, and he kind of, you could hear him praising him quite a lot. The other thing Sheryl picks up on there is the condition of the players. I mean, how many pictures you've seen of them lying sparkled flat out on their back? Danilo, Ridvan. We've heard a lot, Kenny, for several years about Rangers players being the fittest they could possibly be, and we're going to outrun and we're going to do this. Do you think finally this might actually be the season where we see that and we see an instant difference? I would love to have a team that were super fit and run faster, run harder, all these wee things that Russell Martin is saying. I'm praying and hoping that actually does come true.
Yeah, it would be nice to, because it's been a load of old cobblers in the last couple of years that, you know, last couple of managers that have said this. I think Michael Beale was the first to kind of say it after taking over from Gio, wasn't he? That, oh, they'll get these players fit, they're not fit enough. And then Clement said the same, and it's nonsense, because it's as clear as day. We can tell, you know, when you're there and you're watching games, mate, you can tell that they're not. Well, I'll put it differently, the lack of concentration in our team at times, that comes down to fitness, because your mental fitness and your physical fitness are, you know, they're joined. They come hand in hand, effectively. But you could tell a number of times. There was teams like, for talk's sake, one that I could say right away that just looked fitter than us in just about every game we played them was St Mirren. For some reason, seemed a much fitter team than us. So, well, what are you talking about? So, in that sense, yeah, it would be nice, and I hope it is the case. And going by the one particular picture of Danilo, he looked as if he'd just seen several ghosts right in front of his face. It was so... He just, like, to point it out a better way, he looked chalk white. It was terrible. I just felt for the boy. He looked absolutely tortured. But that's kind of what you expect. It's pre-season. It's the first week of it. You should be, you know, this is Friday. They'll have finished up probably for the weekend, and you know, they'll probably all want to go and just soak in a bath for a couple of days, because their muscles will be all over the shop. But to be serious, yes, we do need to be the fittest team in the league, because we clearly haven't been for a long time. I think the last time you could say that was probably under Steven Gerrard, that we did look the fittest team in the league. But that's the issue we have. The one thing that, you know, teams maybe lack in this, you know, country is the skill levels of other certain leagues. They don't lack fitness, mate. So we have to get our players as fit as possible. And if you're fit and you have a better team, you should actually start to win a lot more games than we did last season. That's kind of where I am with it, and I certainly hope so. Put it that way.
Jake, in answer to your question, buddy, who was the goalkeeping coach? Goalkeeper coach is Connor Brennan. Connor is the under 19s goalkeeping coach, but he's got all his pro license. He actually was the goalkeeper coach even when Alan McGregor was here, because Alan doesn't have his goalkeeping license or the necessary badges to be on his own. So Connor has been taking Jack Butland and Liam Kelly and Mason Munn, etc., for an extensive period of time. So that will probably be seamless until Rangers can pick up where they want to do with the rest of their staff. I don't think they're particularly, probably like everything else, in a hurry to do that. Scott's asked, is there any update on the coaching staff? The answer is no. I asked Rangers for an update at the end of last week, and they very politely said, and it was polite, but they more or less said, when there's something to update, we will update it, and there's nothing at this moment in time. So I haven't went back with the same question, because it's pretty much pointless. But there's no real kind of discussion on that. We do know, and it's been publicised, that Maurice Ross would be going in for an interview with the club. I don't know when that's happening. I haven't heard about that either. So yeah, that's basically where we are with regards to that. But yeah, I mean, look, I think we're all pretty dominated, guys, by transfer rumours and what's going on at the football club, and where we are with bids and what's happening. It's a bit of an ongoing saga, unfortunately. Cyril Dessers, we've talked about it and talked about it and talked about it. The reports from the kind of Greek journalists over there is that Rangers and Ike are still £1 million apart, which I feel, if they're offering 4 and we want 5, I don't feel that 5's a lot for Cyril Dessers, considering his goal return in the last couple of years. And I think maybe there's a deal to be done somewhere there, but it's getting to the point now where you're almost fed up. And I said on this show last week, and my issue has always been, I'm not sure that I really believe that Ike Athens can afford him. I know they've got new owners and I know that they're making noises, but see, for me, if I was targeting a striker with 51 goals and the difference was 4.2 and 5 million or whatever it is and where they are, I would go and meet it just to get the deal done. And my worry, I suppose, guys, Sheryl, I'll start with you, is that I just don't think that I'm not sure that they're going to meet that. And if they have, why is it taking so long?
I know, and the bigger worry for me is obviously we have such a short amount of time to get things moving, Stevie, before we've got competitive games. I know that we've probably got Turgeman waiting in the background. Is that dependent on what? Well, it clearly is what's going to happen with Hamza and what's going to happen with Cyril as well. So we need to get this moving as quickly as possible. I'm almost the opposite from you. I look at somebody like Turgeman and think that's exactly the kind of player that we want to be bringing in. Young, skillful, strong, great finisher. Do you know what? If it is a wee kind of niggle over a few 100,000 or whatever, if I was Rangers and I knew that I had somebody waiting in the wings that I could bring in that would fit that player trading model, I'd actually go the opposite way. Let Dessers go, agree the fee, and then you move forward with Turgeman and bring in somebody that you know is going to be with us for a while and that will have hopefully a much higher sell-on value as well. But you're right, it's getting pretty frustrating now.
It's a fair point, to be fair. One of the comments CTDS just brought up, teams are frugal. We done the exact same with Kolak. I remember when Martin Bain was negotiating for Nacho Novo and the first bid was like 100,000 and a 12 packet of Iron Brew. So yeah, I mean, we can't, I suppose, be kind of picky with what we're doing. But I suppose for me, Kenny, and this is maybe where it becomes a wee bit frustrating, and I've used the word patience because we do need it, but it's difficult because you just want these sales to happen, you want the guys in the door, you want to get settled in time for the Champions League qualifier, and you want it all done yesterday. And I'm the world's worst, I think. And just with the constant updates about Cyril Dessers, to my knowledge, there hasn't even been a formal bid yet. That's frustrating for me. If you want them, sign them.
Well, yeah. However, they'll have a budget as well, Stevie. So they might have 6, 7, 8 players to buy as well. And they might be looking at that and feeling that personally, you know, the owners of that football club might be looking at it and saying, no, that's the maximum we're going to pay for that boy because he is coming up for 31 and that you know, so it's difficult because just because he's our player doesn't make us right. We hold the aces, don't get me wrong. He's our player, he's under contract to us. So whatever we want, we will hope someone pays. But if they're the only football club that are coming in for him, which I actually don't believe will be the case, then you have a situation where what do you do? Because at some point, and I don't know if this is the case, I genuinely have no idea, but it does look as if we are waiting, as Sheryl said, that we're waiting to get 1 or 2 out the door before we start the influx of people coming in. So at some point, there's got to be you've got to kind of blast the impasse completely and just get on with it. But it's a difficult one because I can agree with both of what you've said there because I do think that, you know, 5 million euros or whatever the price is, I think that's a fair price for the guy. However, if they're not going to pay it and you want to get your players in, because we've got a game in 4 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks, Stevie, 4 weeks now, and we have to get these players in. So unless you want to take the chance of having a very similar squad to the squad that got knocked out by Dynamo Kiev last year, we're going to have to give and take a little. However, I also totally agree with you in terms of this saga with Cyril Dessers and Ike Athens. I'm finding it really dull. I mean, I'm actually bored of it already. It's been going on for about 3 weeks. just pay the money or tell him to go and find another club, go and talk to other clubs or something, because it's every single day there's an update and nothing actually happens. So kind of where this situation is, all very boring.
Yeah, well, look, Ryan makes a fair point. He thinks that things will happen after June 30th. On July 1st, any spending that will be done. So it shows up on July 1st, 2025, June 30th, 2026 financials. That has been mentioned quite a lot online. I honestly don't know. I think Natalie asked the question earlier, are we waiting until July the 1st to make those signings? See if Rangers are doing that, folks. I would just hope then that we have everything in place, like the Turgeman thing. He's obviously been in the press in Israel, and I think he's made it quite clear to Maccabi, according to reports, that he would like to leave and he wants to go to Rangers. Rangers are his favourite destination. I've got to be honest, I'm in love with this boy from his YouTube highlight reel. He looks unbelievable. Now, I'm not an expert. He is a Football Manager legend, and that really sways me as well. So it troubles me when we get linked to guys like that, and it excites me as well. And look, I think Cyril's done a great job for this club, but if we were to sell Cyril Dessers and get the money we wanted, £4.5 million, which I think we should be there and thereabouts, and I wouldn't really be going any lower than that, and that's just my own opinion on that. I understand people might say we'll take 4 just to move him, that's absolutely fine. But if we were to do that and bring in a young 21-year-old lad like this boy with all the kind of ceiling in the world, then it would really be something that I would want to do. Sheryl, I'm not sure we've had your opinion on Turgeman. So what is your thoughts on him and how much do you know about him?
Just exactly the same as you. I have a YouTube obsessed 9-year-old who keeps showing me all the different reels, and he just looks exactly what we're looking for, doesn't he? Just down to a T. His age, 21. Apparently he's 2-footed, he's very strong, he's very skillful, great finisher. He's exactly what we need. And again, it's getting boring. It's the phrase we keep trotting out, but we really need to crack on with that player trading model, and he just fits that, doesn't he? He's kind of everything that we're looking for. So that's why I'd made the point with Dessers that if it comes to quibbling over a relatively small amount, you get him out and you get this guy in. Absolutely.
Yeah, and the rumoured price, I think, like, again, the questions asked by CT, what's the rumoured asking price? I think it's more or less the same, Kenny. You're looking at more or less 4.5-5 million for Dessers, and more genuinely, it's been reported as around the same to get Turgeman in. So I think it's more or less like for like in value.
Yeah, it does look like it. I think there was a story a couple of weeks ago that we had a bid knocked back, and apparently that's not true from Turgeman. I don't know if that is true or not, but that we had offered €5 million or something like that, and they wanted 6. But that kind of works out at very similar kind of monetary value when you relate it to pounds. But again, a lot of this with Cyril Dessers, it's a kind of legacy issue with us. It might well be that their AEK Athens are matching Dessers' wages, therefore they're going to have to feel that they want to bring the price, the transfer fee down. Whereas with Turgeman, I just look at it with the stories that we're going to come to about Hamza Egeman and the player trading model that you're saying, that if we can get boys like Turgeman in here, I have no doubt in my mind that if you get the right balance in your squad, particularly up front, that this kid could be quite sensational in our league. And I am the same as you two guys. I'm only going into the YouTube video reels, but they look sensational. There's a goal doing the rounds today on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, where he takes the ball, flicks, spins, turns. He's on the edge of the centre circle and beats 3 players and strokes it in the bottom corner. I mean, it's just sensational. So if you're bringing that kind of level of talent, and as I say, I don't know if that's a one-off or not, but again, the quicker the cycle starts to turn with all of this, the better, because, if you're asking me point blank, who would you rather see in your team, Cyril Dessers or this kid? There's only one answer, and I don't want to be nasty, but it's true. There's only one. You're talking about a guy 10 years younger, but clearly more talent. So let's do business, please.
I just think it would be a nice boost for everyone as well. Like, if you're spending, it's maybe a wee signal of intent for us. I do think we need to spend throughout the spine of this team. Spend money on a centre back, spend money on a 6, spend money on a 9 if Sheryl was to go, and then you've still got your wingers and things to get. I do like Max Aaron a lot. Max Aarons, sorry. Let's nail that straight away. I asked the club to how does he pronounce his name, because there was a wee bit of debate on Rangers Review, and then I was sent a clip of him at Bournemouth, and his name's Max Aarons. So you know, everybody, that I love to butcher a surname, so I'm going to try and get Max Aarons as right as much as possible. But he's somebody I like. I'm glad he's here. He's a good first signing for me. It's positive that we've been linked with defenders, and we've been linked with obviously a left back as well, which would maybe signal, because they're not going to carry Jeff D, Ridvan and Beck, for example. So if the interest is real in Beck, and if the interest in a permanent signing is real in Beck, then one of them is going to move on. So like Kenny says, you want the cycle to start. You want these things. It's like pulling a thread, isn't it? When you pull one, you want everything else to kind of unravel. And that takes us, I suppose, to Hamza Igaman, which has been the massive story, or really non-story, of the last 24 to 48 hours. Yeah, what can we say? Heavily reported by journalists, apparent in the know sources close to LOSC, Lille in France, and they were saying that bids are imminent, that they've agreed a contract. And it's weird, because back in my day growing up, you agreed a transfer fee and then you spoke to the player, but it seems to be the other way around at this moment in time. So Hamza apparently agreed this deal, and there's no bids being forthcoming. You know, there's nothing. Rangers have denied any bids have been received. There's nothing been reported, and now it looks like they're saying that they're walking away because they don't want to match Rangers, and Rangers want 17 million euros, which is around 15 million pounds, plus sell-on, plus add-ons, etc. So that's where we are currently. Rangers say that there's nothing been received officially. I'm not in the know about this at all, other than what we've seen reported. But now it's been reported tonight by Andy Newport and Daily Record that Lille won't match that price, and they're looking elsewhere. So this has really been a bit of a non-story. How true was it that they agreed a contract? How true was it that bids were coming? We can only really go on what's been speculated. But it's a bit like the Dessers thing, that, and this is what I go back to what I was saying about being pretty relaxed and not getting up nor down about certain things, because there's always accounts everywhere that are giving it, this deal's done and we're here to be done, and the winks and everything else, Sheryl, and nothing materialises. And I wouldn't be surprised if once again with Hamza Igaman, it's a bit of a non-story.
Yeah, do you know what? I was just thinking that when you were saying that, we're just in different times now, aren't we? Because I don't know, say 10, 15 years ago, you just relied on the papers. There was none of these YouTube sites or videos that were popping up giving you exclusives, kind of clickbait stuff. So it's really difficult to decipher what's genuinely happening and what's made up just to basically get people tuning in, etc. I think I'm in a slightly different place, because we spoke about it the last time we were together when it looked like Nico Raskin was definitely going. I was very, very keen that Igaman stayed. From what I can gather from it, this seems to be coming from him. He seems to be quite keen to move on, when I was quite keen to keep him. But again, you know, we bought him for 1.7 million. If we get 15 million euros plus, sorry, I think that would be a really excellent piece of business. I like him. Ideally, we would keep him for another year. But if he wants to go with a decent sell-on attached, I think we go for it. It's just like you say, Stevie, really difficult to work out actually what is happening, what's the truth in this. The club, to my mind, quite frustratingly, are playing it the way exactly that they should do. They're keeping things very close to their chest. There's no leaks around this, which is great, but it's also quite frustrating in terms of us working out what's true and what's not. I would like him to stay. I think he'll leave.
It's been interesting because there's almost been a narrative change, Kenny, where we were thinking for a long time that Nico Raskin was about to leave. We now know that Nico Raskin contract talks are happening there. So we've now all got our fingers crossed that maybe we'll be able to keep Nico for a bit. But the narrative almost has changed. When you look at Joshua Barry's report writing on Rangers News and stuff, and I have a lot of time for Joshua. He's always there and thereabouts. He seems, and he actually wrote in his article this afternoon that it seems more or less certain that Hamza Igaman will be playing in Liga 1 in France. So I thought that was a quite interesting call from him. And now the reports tonight, again, Andy Newport, Daily Record, saying that this deal was almost, and but literally just in the last 5-10 minutes or so as we were on air, that saying they're going to walk away because there was never, as he reported it, never a bid. Rangers have denied any reports of any bids being received, but they basically, that might be there and thereabouts, because it might be a case of we want to pay such and such, and Rangers go, no, this is our actual asking price, and this is where we value him. So until it becomes official, I suppose they can play hard and loose with the truth there. But for whatever reason, they're reporting tonight that that's about to collapse, and I don't think it'll be the last kind of speculation over Hamza Igaman, that's for sure.
How can a deal collapse when they haven't even put a bid in? I'm lost on that. I don't understand that. What I would think is that Lille have probably been told by Hamza Igaman's agent, right, he's going to go this summer, so do you want to talk to him? I know you're interested. Yeah, that's all agreed. Right, now you go and talk to Rangers. Rangers are looking for 15 million or whatever it is, 17 million euros, 18 million euros, whatever it may be. And they went, well, no, we don't want to pay that. Well, don't pay it then, but you're not getting them. I mean, what kind of nonsense is this? Particularly when you consider the amount of clubs that are, by all accounts, are genuinely interested. And I think that's perhaps what's kind of put Lille off a little bit. And was it not Lille that did this with Alfie Morelos a few years back? It was the same club where they said they'd offered this and then wouldn't go any higher and pulled out of it and all this nonsense. So I don't know huge amounts about that football club, but what I would say is when you're talking about clubs like Marseille, I believe Lens are interested, Strasbourg, Spurs have been mentioned, West Ham have been mentioned, Everton have been mentioned, 2 clubs in Serie A apparently have been mentioned, Sevilla have been mentioned. There's lots and lots of clubs. Now, I have no idea if any of that's true, but going by the way Lille have went about it today, I think they probably realise it's true that they've been trying to get the boy on the cheap to a certain degree and went, well, we're not going to get him for the money we want to pay. All very tedious and all very, very similar to AEK Athens with Cyril Dessers at a different value. And I'm like you, I'm an old man. I'm quite an old man, and I don't understand how players are going about doing deals with other clubs. I didn't even know that was allowed these days, and I don't get it. So
I don't even know, Kenny, if we can be sure that's happening. It's just reports, but
no,
what it
that's
does
what I
then
mean.
is, yeah, what it does then is confuse and kind of agitate the support, because the support are saying, well, how's that possible? What's really going on? There's all these hat tips and winks and, little upside down egg timers going on as if it's to be imminent. And then when you actually hear officially, it's all denied. So I think that's a frustration, I think, for probably all of us.
I think it's just clubs talking to agents talking on behalf of their clients. Let's see if we can. How much would you give them? How many years? All this kind of stuff. And went, oh, that sounds great. We'll go and deal with his club because he's keen. He'd like to move to France. I don't mind that. However, what I mean is that, as you say, egg timers and eyes and all sorts and emojis coming about the place. That, I mean, come on, just if you want a player, pay the money. I just don't get it, and I just find it really kind of boring. We go through it every summer, mate, and I don't know what else to say apart from Hamza Igaman is a fantastic player. If Rangers are looking at 15 million quid, I don't think that's an unfair price at all for a talent like that. I mean, he's if you're being honest, he's probably about 30, 35, 40% maximum capacity of what the player could be. If you're buying a boy at that price for £15 million and you can improve him, you'd have a 50, 60, 70 million pound player in your hands in 2 or 3 years' time, and you would. if you can progress him the way that you could actually progress this kid. And that's where you're buying potential. And if Rangers, I'm quite liking the way Kevin Thelwell's going about this, where I have a funny feeling, I've mentioned this on here before, that when you look into a little bit of what he did at Everton and the amount of reduced agents' fees over the period that he was there, don't be surprised if that's got something to do with what's going on at the minute. That the agent fees are being vastly reduced, and that's why some of this stuff is just all pie in the sky, because it's just agents doing what agents do, which is annoy folk, basically.
Yeah, no, look, I agree. I think that's where we are with Hamza, where we are with Cyril. Moving on a wee bit. Before we do, there's almost 3,000 people watching this across all channels. We really appreciate all your support today. Thank you very much, as usual. Really, really strong for the podcast, and we love that. If you are watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. That really helps us grow. If you want to join the members channel, you can do as little for 99p a month. There's 500 members, and we absolutely love that community. You get extra shows, extra interviews, extra one-on-ones. So we're really looking forward to that. And we love the fact that everybody joined us. What we've also done for members is people have been asking, you can watch the replays of these podcasts ad-free and stuff like that. When you put them out to normal YouTube, we'll put ads and everything on them. I get the same when I watch guys that gamble in Vegas Matt and stuff like that, and it's ads. So it is what it is, folks, unfortunately. But if you join the members, you can watch all these pods for ad-free, which we will do. So that's why for members you would have seen 2 episodes of the club interviews and things this week, and that's so you could watch it ad-free. So if you want to join us, we love that. Please do. We appreciate all the members so far. Moving on, Kenny, and Sheryl, some rumours this week. Luke de Jong popped up, a rumour from PSV. There was rumours, obviously, of Owen Beck, the Liverpool left back. There was rumours of Emmanuel Hernandez, a Peterborough centre back, which then when you delved into the comments, you were like, oh, I'm not sure that's great, because they were all like, take him, he's really not that good. And there's obviously the Christian Eriksen doesn't seem to be going away rumour-wise, but that's all these are. They're rumours. I'm not sure there's foundation to them. I'm not sure there's much going on. But we just need to wait and see, I suppose, Kenny.
Yeah, we do. Luke de Jong, cracking player. I would have him for a year. I would love that. If we could get him, I think he'd be a real handful in our league. No idea if it's true whatsoever. All the rest of them, I mean, the one that's really caught my eye this week is a young left back, the Liverpool left back. He's a good player. He's played in this league and he's been very good in our league. All the rest is all rumour and conjecture, isn't it? But Christian Eriksen, I just can't see that. If we were to get somebody like that, would be a great signing. But I cannot see that happening at all. As far as I'm aware, he's on stupid money at Man U. So, or he was. I don't even know if his contract's up there or not. I have no idea. But I know he was on.
I think he's out of contract, didn't he? Because I remember Johnny Evans giving him the penalty on his final day of the season. I've got to be honest with you. I would be worried about not his level of ability, but just if he could handle it up here pace-wise. Christian Eriksen's a wonderful player, but we've seen, and James makes a point about Nico Kranjčar as well. I remember how excited I was to see him, and it was like, he still had the technical ability, but he was miles off game-wise. Sheryl, do any of these kind of rumours that are going about and these linked players, I must admit, I quite like the boy Beck at left-back. I think if we could get him, I would be quite interested in that. I did say previously I thought experience would come in, so that does play in my mind a wee bit at left-back, but I think that he is quite a promising player, and I liked him when he was at Dundee. I know there was a lot of interest, and then, unfortunately, with every player that we get linked with, he had the injuries. But last year at Blackburn, he played 25 league games, and he was their Young Player of the Year and their Team of the Year and things. So he's proved it at that level in the Championship, which is a good level. I think he would be one that would interest me, signing-wise. But are you interested in any of the other names that have been said and linked?
No, listen, I'm the same as you, Stevie. Obviously, looking at money, Eriksen, absolutely. Like wages, silly money. I think, what is it, De Jong's 34? again, out of all of them, I think Beck, no brainer, knows the league, masses of potential. I think he's the one that you're looking at. You sell Ridvan on, you keep Jefty there. There's a wee bit of competition. Also, Jefty's a young guy, so you're giving him a wee bit. Maybe there was a lot of pressure on him last season. You're taking that pressure off him. You've got somebody else there in that left back position. For me, that's a no-brainer. Absolutely, Beck. The other two, I think, are just a wee bit of sort of, again, maybe clickbait. I just don't think they're as realistic. But definitely Beck for me.
Thank you to everybody in the comments who's brought to my attention. Fabrizio Romano has just tweeted out, Rangers are set to retain 3 young talents within academy under new ownership and structure to develop academy players. Understand Callum Adamson, Jack Wiley and Max Cameron have all agreed 2-year contracts at the club. Interesting news. Callum Adamson, I know Jack Wiley a wee bit about, but I can't be dishonest and say that I know lots about them. I may have seen them once or twice in the B team covering them last year, but I'm not sure on their abilities or levels at that. I would urge you all to check out Rangers Youth updates online. It's Willie Irwin that does that, and he's really knowledgeable. He goes to all the youth games there. So positive that we're retaining these young guys. Appreciate everyone in the comments kind of talking about Fabrizio having tweeted out. Curry mentioned it. Thank you, buddy. So yeah, I mean, really appreciate it, because obviously when we're doing the live stuff, having to keep in note of all the comments and everything else. So appreciate that.
Cheryl, certainly... Could you please highlight the comment that refers to me as a young girl and get that right along the bottom, so at some point I can watch it, screenshot it, and just put it as my new X profile picture or something. It's Robert McDonald. Not that I've sat and no, the one that that's very nice, but the one that calls me a young girl, that's what I'm looking for. young girl.
Okay, it'll be somewhere in these comments. Obviously, I'm glad you're happy. But back to the question. Let's concentrate. Put the red wine down for a second. Somebody else said earlier on, "Can we get you a bigger glass of red wine?" So you've obviously got quite the fan base here. But in terms of these young kids, it is good to see the young guys, because there was the boy that was linked with Newcastle, the left back Oliver. Good. I can't remember his second name. I beg your pardon. He was linked with.
Is it Goodbrand?
Goodbrand, it might be going down to Newcastle, and you don't want to see these young boys being lost, and you want to see them. So if these 3 lads, which Fabrizio was tweeting out, which undoubtedly will be true, then that's a positive sign for the academy at least.
Yeah, I think as well, talking about kind of what we'll be looking for, movement, obviously pre-season, movement in and out, I would be looking for a decision from Robin Proper as well. This to me is an absolutely ridiculous situation. That there's still discussion that he would even want to be part of, going on how last season went for him, that we're waiting for some kind of decision. But I would like to see a wee bit movement on that as well, so we can kind of get that back line settled as well. Maybe a wee bit news on what's happening with Raskin as well, his contract talks. I think that would be a huge boost if we could get a wee bit positive news about that as well. And if we know that Proper's going, then maybe a wee bit of word on Cody as well this week.
Yeah, I think the Cody one, look, there's been a lot of discussion over Connor Cody, isn't there? There's a lot of people claiming that that's done and he'll arrive next week. It was claimed he would arrive this week, but he's obviously still working on his press stuff. So we'll just need to wait and see where that is. I honestly have no update on that. Hopefully at some point we'll get some clarity on it, Kenny. It's having that patience, isn't it? I think we've spoke about it a wee bit before, and this is I suppose the difficult bit for us, that we just have to trust that things are happening behind the scenes with the likes of Cody, Turgeman. There'll be players that we don't even know about that are mentioned and things like that. We just need to try and hope that these things start to unravel, as we've spoke about.
Yep. My son sent me a message. He was working today, so was I. Sent me a message. One word, raging. I said, why is that? I said, no signings. And it's just exactly where we're at, isn't it? It's frustrating, because I think we all kind of hoped that you'd see real movement this week. It hasn't really happened. We've had Max Aaron's brought in, and that's been it this week. And I do think the frustration or the patience that we need to have, and or the lack of patience that we have at this moment in time, is coming because we have a big game coming that's vital to our season, and we all know it's vital, and we're now questioning do the owners know it's as vital as it's going to be, and of course they do, and that's the issue that we have in regards to being frustrated, is that they are not going to force things for the sake of forcing it. They will get it right, and they've already said this. It's about getting things right. It's about doing things properly. It's professionalism, and unfortunately for us, we're going to have to be patient. And Brewbear's absolutely right. Asking us a lot to be patient is just crazy. It's just mad talk, isn't it? But we're going to have to be. I'm like Sheryl. I want to see an awful lot of movement start next week. We really do need to see, or not even just see, can I start getting kept up to date a little bit with stuff. The likes of Nico Raskin, it'd be nice to hear he signed a new deal for a start. That would be a brilliant start to the pre-season proper, if you like, with international players back on. You know, I think Hamza Egeman is going to go, then get that done quickly. Things like that. Serial Dessers, just hurry the F up. We're all bored of it. You know, we are just so bored of this. And the likes of the boy Owen Beck and things like that, you know, if that is quite far down the line, and Connor Cody's quite far down the line, it'd be nice to see proper movement next week, because if there's no movement next week, there'll be pitchforks and torches and all sorts down at Ibrox by the end of the week. So let's hope so, Stevie.
Yeah, as I say, the extra players come back on the start of next week. So your internationals, Nico, Cyril Dessers and stuff will be that. But hello to Sid. Sid tunes in from Toronto all the time. We really appreciate everybody that tunes in and watch. Right, I wasn't sure if I was going to discuss this. However, people have been questioning it. David Gray, Stevie, have you listened to the Murray tapes? No. I had a decision to make. Would I take the opportunity to go and speak to Sir David Murray? Would I apply and go for it? I decided against it. Doing Stephen Naismith interview was an eye-opener, and I am not here to rile people up, etc. What Stephen said was words. What David Murray did was even worse. I didn't think it was time to do it, so I left it. I have seen his words that he says, because it's been all over X, and to be quite honest with you, I don't believe it for a second. So David Murray made the decisions he had to make. I think he was well warned. I think he knew what he was doing. I think he made the choices, and that I understand why he did it when he was given the choice of his own business and everything else, or Rangers. But he started what was to be a disastrous period for this football club. I'm not in a position where I really want to listen to him. I did hear a clip from Ewan Cameron, which is that, and he mentioned meeting the Prime Minister and 100 odd million pound deals within minutes of being on. And yeah, he's sorry, but it was everybody else's fault and nothing to do with his reckless way that he was running the club at that moment in time. Because whether you like it or not, if we weren't making reckless decisions, we would never have been in that position. He used a very aggressive tax avoidance scheme, which turned out to be legal, but still would have pocketed us a £33 million bill at the end of it. So it's a emotional one. Kenny, do you have anything to say? Because what I would say is Murray, for his book, all profits are going to Erskine and survivors, etc. So I'm not sure that this is his way of doing whatever. It's the first time he's spoken in 14 years. But I've got to be honest with you, I'm not sure there's anything he could really say that would interest me that much. And I don't have a hatred for him or anything like that. I just think that no matter what he says, I don't believe the fact that he didn't know exactly what he was doing when he sold the club the way he did, Kenny.
No, neither do I. However, I have watched the video, and he's not changed a bit in 14 years in terms of his attitude. That's for certain. I'm going to be very careful about what I say, and I'll quote Walter when he turned around and said, if David Murray was duped, it would be the first time he'd been duped in his life, which is exactly what Walter said about him when it came to the Craig White stuff. So it shows you if somebody that knew him as well as Walter Smith didn't believe it, then who's going to believe it? There's an awful lot I could say, and I'm not going to. He is one of those people that, I'm going to say it. It's just narcissism on turbo. Listening to that 15 minutes that I listened to today, and it is, it's incredible to listen to and see a guy who tries to tell you he's got remorse, and it's as plain as he knows on his own face. He has no remorse whatsoever, and when people are saying it was all over Radio Clyde today, and it's been on the news. David Murray apologises. Actually, listen to it. He said he didn't apologise. He says, I've already apologised. Well, who cares? Genuinely, who cares about an apology from a guy that did this to an institution like Glasgow Rangers? It's not an apology we need. It's an explanation, and this man has no... he doesn't even have the decency to do that for us. 14 years later, it's all about me. And as you say, I was in a meeting with the Prime Minister and nobody could see this global collapse coming. The world knew it was coming. It happened in America. What are you talking about? There was banks collapsing in America 2 years previous. What are you gibbering about? And expecting us all to believe him. So I'm going to stop because I get very emotional when I talk about that man. I have no time for it, and I did watch it, and I was the same as you, Stevie. I wasn't going to watch it all day, and it hit just as about I was leaving work, and I was kind of tidying up a bit, and I stuck it on and I listened to it, and it just made me kind of angry. So,
Sheryl, any thoughts or anything to add?
Do you know, I've avoided it completely because we were just a vanity project for him. That's all we were, something to boost his profile and his ego. I think, was it Alistair Johnson that gave warnings about White? I think the term wronging was used. He was warned. He knew exactly, maybe not exactly what was going to happen, but he was warned.
Sheryl, it was all over the internet and follow, even at that point, 14 years ago, that this man had been banned from directorship for 7 years and all that. I remember the warnings on there. Everybody knew about it. This came, I think, a year to almost the time where the boy Ellis was trying to buy the club, and he was even worse. So, I think you're bang on.
Absolutely. And do you know what? The other thing, I think, who's going to buy this book? It's a stocking filler for your Celtic supporting pal. Other than that, I don't know who genuinely would be interested in buying this anyway. Yes, the proceeds go to Erskine, but you know what? Save your sanity and your rage levels and just go and donate a £5 Erskine rather than giving that Erse any time of your brain space or any more of your anger, because he doesn't deserve it. Do you know what? He almost finished us off, but we've got to be grateful that he has done some good things. Absolutely not. He knew exactly what he was doing.
Moving on, day in the life, when players away for pre-season, I believe it's the 7th. 7th of July. So that's when they go down to St George's. I think that's correct. We actually have a day down there on the 11th. So we hope to be able to bring you some quite good content from that. So I'm taking a drive down there with David Edgar from Heart and Hand. So we're really looking forward to that. We'll get to sit and speak to various people and bring some good content. So hopefully everybody will look forward to that, and that'll give us a wee insight into pre-season. Just one thing I'm going to share just before we kind of wrap up, something I mentioned the other day. Four Lads of the Dream live at Walters. Walters say we're absolutely buzzing to bring the Four Lads of the Dream podcast team to Walters, the new pub in Rutherglen, on Friday the 1st of August for a live on-stage show. Join Stevie and everybody for all the latest Rangers chat, transfer talk, season predictions, and proper Rangers patter. I'm not sure about the patter, but it will be me there and probably Kenny. But then stick around for live music from Jodie Pollock, belting out all the classic Rangers anthems to keep the night going strong. Tickets just £7, with £2 from every ticket donated to the Rangers Charity Foundation. Walters Rutherglen's new home for Rangers fans, Friday the 1st of August, and we'll probably start about 7:30. Rangers chat, live music, a packed bar full of beers. Night before the league starts, hopefully plenty of signings, hopefully a good showing against Panathinaikos, and everybody should be in quite a good mood, Kenny. I'm really looking forward to it. A privilege to be asked by Walters to go and play there in your bar. Really looking forward to it and really excited. So hopefully we can meet as many members and YouTube subs as we can and have a good night.
Well, I hope the folk at Rangers are listening to this and start bringing signings in, because if we've got nothing in by then, I don't think I'll be going, mate, because we'll be getting lynched. Being serious, I'm really looking forward to it. I think it'll be good fun. I said it the other night, this will be my first experience of this kind of thing. I know you're well versed in it, Stevie, with all your finger in many pies with stuff like this, but I am looking forward to it. And it's a brand new pub, I believe. It's just I don't even know if it's open yet. I think it's just opening.
It started a month, 1st of July.
Yeah.
So first of the kind,
in
the kind of Rutherglen area. So I think they're really keen. Something that we're looking forward to doing, Sheryl, is taking the podcast on tour as such. Plenty of red wine, I think, flowing for you.
Yeah, do you know what? It's just an amazing experience. Like you, Kenny, this would be the first time that I've ever been out and done the podcast live. So, it's really exciting. Obviously, the engagement in the pod has increased dramatically, and that's excellent. But the opportunity to actually get out and meet people and speak to everybody and get a wee bit of feedback as well, I think is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, definitely. So, look, folks, we're going to end it there. Almost been on an hour. Go, please do check out our YouTube. Please like and subscribe. If you want to join the membership, you will get extra content, extra shows. You will also get extra interviews. Kevin Thompson we done last week on the Coach's Corner. It was really interesting. Not about Kevin Thompson tackling Robbie Keane or anything that you've heard before. This is a different side to Kevin Thompson. All of it is coaching, Kelly Hart's, his time at Rangers, his current time at Rangers. So it's really interesting. And we're really looking forward to everybody hearing that. It's been out for the last kind of few days. So please do check that out. If you want to become a member of our YouTube channel, you can do that on the YouTube welcoming page of Four Lads Had a Dream. Right, Kenny, Sheryl, thank you very much for joining us. Much appreciated, folks.
Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yep.
Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. And we were only going to do about half an hour this evening, I believe, chaps. So, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
That's my fault. Always rabbit on too much. So apologies, everyone. But you've got an hour, which we try and do, so we really appreciate it. Thanks to all our sponsors, Rhino Express, Clydeview Joinery, Athol Industrial Solutions, CSD Air Conditioning, and our partners, Black Rooster and Art of Gold. I really hope everyone has a good weekend. We'll be back on Sunday with a members-only discussion panel, so we'll chat about all the latest stuff for all the YouTube members. So if you want to join us there, I think we'll probably go about 3 o'clock on Sunday. So there and thereabouts, we'll get that advertised so that you can all join us, and hopefully you do. Apart from that, have a great Friday evening, have a wonderful Saturday and a wonderful weekend, and hopefully see you all Sunday. If not, we'll be back next week with all the shows as per normal. Good night, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Have a great time. Good night. Cheers.
The Four Lads podcast is sponsored by Rhino Express, Clydeview Joinery, Athol Industrial Solutions Limited, and CSD Air Conditioning, in partnership with Black Rooster and Art of Gold. Thank you for listening to or watching the podcast. We hope you've enjoyed the show.